Welcome back to Saturday Hashmarks. My name is Brian, also known as Trojan Bias on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm joined here by Nick. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick was on a date earlier tonight. Took his girl to the AHL Bakersfield Condors game. Nick, how'd the
Oh
date
yeah,
go?
it was good. Condors won. So yeah,
Ah, there you
it
go.
was uh it
Condors.
was $3 hot dog night.
How
The
many how many dogs do you eat?
three.
Hey, three
Hey,
dogs for less than 10, dude. A $10 bill got you three dogs and some change.
yeah.
Hard hard to be
There
upset.
you go.
Hard to have a bad night when you're getting three dogs for a $10 bill. Nick, we had some huge news going on over the weekend. It was kind of the thing hanging over everybody's heads. We were all watching games. We were also checking for updates and rumors for a particular coach who may or may not have left his team in the middle of a playoff run to join a rival team. Obviously, talking about Lane Kiffin going to LSU. And not only is he going to LSU next season, but Ole Miss and LSU, I think it was Ole Miss that said he cannot coach the rest of this season. Ole Miss sitting at 11-1, probably going to make the college football playoffs. I mean, I don't see a way they don't make the college football playoffs, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But yeah, just left his team. Not only did he leave his team, he told his players and his coaching staff that LSU sent 3 planes to Oxford to get on, and told everyone you either get on or you're not getting a job back. And then to make it even weirder, Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, Ole Miss, got on the plane, and then Ole Miss said, "You know what, Charlie Weiss Jr., you actually can coach us as the offensive coordinator. You can call our plays." Which doesn't make sense, because if they're afraid of him
Well,
poaching.
I the only reason, and I think Lane came out and said that, is because they wanted to make sure that the committee wasn't going to knock them because he was the one that was calling the plays. I'm pretty sure all year
Mhm.
long. So if Kiffin leaves, yeah, it's the head coach gone, but their offensive play caller and their defensive play caller are there still. They shouldn't get docked. And I think they were just trying to help their case. I
I
feel like
agree. Here's my thing though: if you're Ole Miss, why do you don't allow Kiffin? You're afraid he's going to poach more staff and players, and makes total sense.
that is true.
But then you let Charlie Wise Jr. around, who is going to do the exact same thing. You don't think every there's a chance that every time he calls a play into Trinidad Chambliss' headset that he says, gun right, dagger switch. By the way, go to Ole Miss or go to LSU. Like, he is in Trinidad Chambliss' ear. He is in the offensive ear.
Yeah,
He absolutely is out there recruiting for LSU, and I think there's definitely tampering involved there.
yeah. I mean,
It's just a mess of a situation.
yeah, I agree. It is a mess of the situation. I could see why they allowed Weiss to go back, uh, but I also get it that the AD doesn't allow Kiffin to coach for the rest of the college football playoff, but I also don't really get it either. Like, I get where you're coming from one hand, like Kiffin will poach everyone, blah blah blah. Well, he already took Weiss. He already took his strength and conditioning coach. So, I mean, he's not going to take every single guy on his 15-man staff, but and I mean it him being there a couple extra weeks, he's already built relationships with these guys on the team. What's a couple extra weeks? He can just literally text them and be like, "Yo, come to LSU. Like,
That's a
we
good
have
point.
a bag for you."
That's
Uh,
that's a good point.
but so I mean, like either way, uh, Kiffin is going to be able to get involved with these guys, especially because since the coach got fired, they are able to enter the portal and all this stuff, and everyone's calling everyone behind the back.
Sure.
So, I mean, I either way, Kiffin's tampering, and so I would allow him to finish, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No.
I truly think they could have won a national championship this year if they got the right like draw. I mean, I don't think they could have beat Ohio State, but if they could have avoided Ohio State somehow, I feel like they match up very well with any other team in the country.
I agree. I think that their one loss obviously being like a very close loss
Close
to
game to
Georgia.
Georgia.
and they were up by 14 in the second half or in the fourth quarter. So I agree they absolutely could have made a run, and I'm gonna be honest, I was probably rooting for them to make a run. And
To
now I'm
beat
even rooting
Georgia at
for
least in that
yeah
game.
now I'm rooting for them to win the national championship even more. And I would love for there to be where they win it and they send Kiffin a package and says thanks for everything, coach, and it's a ring box. And they open the ring box, or Kiffin opens a ring box, nothing in it, and that's streamed free to everybody that wants to see Kiffin's face when that happens.
Uh,
That is my
just a little camera in there.
little camera in there. You just see him open it and the disappointment on his face. Couple of things, other things with this is I don't get why Kiffin would leave. Right? He got Ole
Yeah.
Miss to 11-1. Now he has to go, and it's easier to continue building off of that than it is to go into LSU where it's not a full rebuild, but you got to bring your guys that fit your system over. You have to build a culture there with you as the centerpiece of it. It's more of a reload than a rebuild, but
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
how I see it.
Ole Miss, if Kiffin stays at Ole Miss, he has a better year next year than Kiffin will have at LSU. So I don't understand even why they're leaving. I mean, Ole Miss gave the same amount of NIL money, guaranteed the same amount of NIL money, gave him guaranteed to match the contract. I don't get why you leave. It doesn't make any sort of sense to me. And I'm not a Southern guy. I don't know anything about the South. But from what I do know about the South, Oxford seems a lot better of a place to live than Baton Rouge does. So from
Well,
no angle
yeah.
do I get
I
this
mean,
move.
Baton Rouge is a real big city. Oxford's a pretty small town. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
but
Oxford's smaller than. It's like there's like less than 30,000 people that live there. Like
no,
that's a small town.
I'm looking at this just from the pictures that I've seen of the two places and kind of the
Oh
vibe
yeah,
I get from them. The vibe I
yeah,
get from Oxford is like this classy little southern, southern
yes,
charm town. Socialites, you got like the socialites that have been there forever with like really nice houses that have questionable histories behind them. And then in LSU and Baton Rouge, it is hick central. It is Cajun. You ever see the show Swamp People? That's what I think of Baton Rouge. So I don't
Jesus,
get this
yeah.
at all. I mean, this doesn't seem like it's the right move. Also, there is the
I feel
fact
like
that
a huge part of it played, and I don't know if you're about to go there, but he really cares about his family lately, especially his daughter.
that's exactly where I was going to
Landry's
go with
dating.
this.
Okay, yeah, and it's just that I
You
feel like
think
played a lot bigger of a part than people are kind of thinking about, or at least no one's talking about it.
I don't
I
think
feel
anyone is going to come out and say like, yeah, the reason that he went is because
like
Landry wanted to live with her boyfriend.
like Landry's the one that told him to go to Ole Miss in the first place, if I'm not correct, or stay a couple
Mm-hmm.
years ago, whatever it was, like
Yeah, yeah,
in the documentary.
yeah. It was
Like
Landry.
she was pretty much the sole reason that he stayed in the first place, or went to Ole Miss, whatever it was. And you know damn well she had fucking a good amount of uh, sway on what
One
she could do
thousand
with her
percent.
dad's choice.
I 1,000
And
percent.
he said he lost sleep over it, and I think he did because he came out and he went on the Pat McAfee show and he's like, "There's no ultimatum, blah blah blah." And I guess there was no ultimatum, and then the ultimatum came out literally the next day and was like, "We're finding out after the Egg Bowl." And then he pretty much was like, "Oh shit, I got to figure out what I'm doing in like 3 days while preparing to beat Mississippi State."
Yeah,
And so, I mean, I truly don't know. I mean, I feel like and when you get to that kind of like 3 day window, Landry was probably in his ear, like, "Yeah, let's just go to Baton Rouge. It's nice down here." Like, blah 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 blah. He's like, "You know what? I could. Yeah, I could.
I feel
Yeah."
like
And then he said he called Saban, and like, Saban talked to him, and I think he kind of alluded to Saban saying like, "This is a step up job. Like, this is one of the
yeah,
premier jobs in the SEC."
yeah,
Like,
and
and I
Saban.
get it.
Let's be honest, Saban's gonna be a little biased. Saban probably has some. I don't think Saban
Deep.
regrets going to the NFL and then going to Bama, but I think there's part of it's like, damn, I could have built something just as cool at LSU. And maybe if you're just looking culture wise,
Yep.
he liked it at LSU more, or he
Yep.
does still love LSU. He has that love for LSU and
Deep
wants to see
down.
them
Deep down. Yeah.
make a run. Feels maybe he did them dirty, whatever. I think that's when he said he talked to Pete Carroll and Nick Saban. I was like, oh, Saban definitely told him to go, dude. Saban for
Yeah,
sure told him to go. Now, if Landry and Whit Weeks break up, uh, does he go somewhere else? Is it just awkward? Is it like,
he's gonna
shoot,
be a senior next year. I think.
that is true. That is true.
I think
God,
he's only there for one more year.
we are at the point in college football. I mean, this whole story is just college football, like to a T.
That it's
We got.
yeah,
I don't know if you saw the video. We had flight trackers. Flight trackers are awesome. Love flight
always,
trackers.
always.
Always love watching flight trackers. We had people showing up to the local airport and saying the most vile things that they could think of while they were holding babies, yelling at coaches. And then we have
Starting young.
the daughter, the daughter's dating the player on the team, and that could be a big reason that all of this happened. This is college football, and I freaking love it, dude.
Oh yeah.
This is why we love college football. Did you see that there were some players? So in his statement, Kiffin said that they asked me not to coach the team, even though the players wanted me to coach the rest of the team. There have been multiple players that have come out and like, "Hey, coach, this actually isn't. No one in that room wanted you to stay."
Bryson Sanders and Suntarine Perkins is the two that I've seen.
Yeah, they have come out and said that nobody wanted Kiffin to stay. So
Crazy,
quite, yeah,
crazy.
very,
We could literally
very,
spend an hour talking about this.
yeah.
It's crazy.
This is a very crazy story. Now, Nick, we also are recording a little bit later than we normally do. This is the third time in a row, and it has not been on purpose one time. So, but with that, college football playoff rankings are out. So let's go through these. We'll go through them the same way we did. We'll go
I don't
just
really have any
bottom.
problems with this one. I kind of I like how everything's kind of shaping up, but
I wouldn't say I have a few problems with it, but I do have some interesting
well, yeah.
thoughts on them. So start off at the bottom five or 20 through 20, 21 through 25, go all the way up. 25, we got JMU, 24 North Texas, 23 Iowa, 22 Georgia Tech, and 21 Houston. My only thought on that is JMU is at 25, and they are playing for a conference championship this weekend. So if they win that game, they are obviously not going to be moving down. North Texas
If
is at
they
24. They are also playing for a conference championship, which I'm going to spoil the surprise now. There's a chance Duke doesn't get in if they win the conference championship game.
yeah, it's been the talk of the
Because,
town.
yeah,
But I mean, if JMU wins and Duke wins, JMU makes the playoff.
I agree. I don't.
I think it's guaranteed. I think JMU will be higher. Obviously, they're already higher computer ranked than Duke.
Yeah, they're higher ranked than Duke. Duke's not ranked. And then you have them, North Texas, and then you have Tulane that are all ranked. So if JMU wins and then North Texas or Tulane, they play each other in the conference championship game,
Hmm.
one of them is getting the fifth auto bid that we always talk about for the group of five, and then JMU goes above Duke, getting they're not getting moved down, and Duke's not going to get moved up for winning
Yeah.
against a
So
17 ranked
JMU,
Virginia.
yeah, JMU would get the 12 seed, and then the winner of Tulane North Texas would get the 11.
That
And then
is
JMU going to Oregon probably, and
that is absolutely insane. The ACC,
Tulane going to
yeah, the
Ole Miss would
ACC
be pretty cool, or
champion,
North Texas. That'd be a
the
good game.
ACC championship this year is just like two teams that have no business being in a conference championship because other teams that are
Ah,
significantly
yeah.
better than
I mean,
them have dropped games.
yeah. I mean, Virginia. I mean, credit to them only losing one game all year in the
I'll credit
conference, but
Virginia.
they
They've been
had a fairly easy
consistent.
schedule.
Yeah, and they've been very consistent. Like Miami obviously has dropped a few games they shouldn't have. You say Georgia
Hmm.
Tech has dropped games they shouldn't have. Like at their best, Miami and Georgia Tech have looked better, but there's been times they've looked worse than Virginia, where Virginia's just been very consistently the same all year.
Yep, they've just been. Yeah, I
But yeah,
agree.
that is an absolute crazy scenario that we may have. Tulane obviously at 20, so they're the first group of five teams. So but again, like it doesn't really matter there. Then we have Michigan, Arizona, Virginia, USC. I don't have much to say about any of those schools there.
No, I mean, I piggyback off Virginia at 17. I think they're kind of perfectly ranked right now. Uh, Still behind USC and stuff. I still think if USC were to play Virginia, they would win, or like Vanderbilt were to play Virginia, they would win.
I agree.
BYU, etc. Uh, I think though if they do beat Duke, I think they do jump USC. I do think they jump maybe Vandy, maybe Utah, and I think they slide in at like 14. And but I
Yeah,
do think right now they're perfectly ranked.
I think Virginia would get in over, and like at this point, like rankings, when we're talking like if Virginia wins, what they're ranked really doesn't matter because they're just
Yeah,
going to be seeded.
they would probably be seeded the 10 seed because they're
Yeah,
not
I
going to
agree
climb
with
higher than
that.
that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's kind of really don't have a lot to say, and I agree.
Yeah,
They're pretty perfectly ranked. Then you go up to the 15 spot. We got Utah, Vanderbilt, Texas, Miami at 12, and BYU at 11. And I'm going to throw the next team in because what I want to say includes them at 10 is Notre Dame. Two things that I want to say about this.
go ahead. I know you got
First,
some thoughts.
Miami should not. I'm going to say it again. Miami should not be ranked above Notre Dame. They have the head-to-head win. They have the same.
You mean they should be?
They
They
should be.
should be
Sorry, they
ranked.
shouldn't be ranked lower than Notre
Yeah.
Dame. They have the head-to-head. So Notre Dame should not be ranked higher than Miami. Get it right that time. They have They have the same record. Miami has the head-to-head win. And you're gonna go not you. Someone's gonna out there is gonna go. Oh, well, Notre Dame has two better losses. One of their losses is to A&M, and one of their losses is to Miami. Do you not see the problem there? Do you not see where the issue lies with that argument?
So my my whole thing on that is I've been kind of like a it's not so much that I've been a Miami hater, it's the fact that I've been a hater of the committee pushing Miami so much.
Mm-hmm.
And while I get it, they were probably doing that to cover the fact that they were putting Notre Dame in also. But I think the committee is setting up to drop Notre Dame or keep to setting it up to keep both of them out.
I agree with
If
that.
it happens, because right now it's BYU and Miami is the first two teams out. Notre
Mm-hmm.
Dame's last team in. If BYU beats Texas Tech, that knocks Notre Dame out. That way, the committee can keep both of those teams out and not have to deal with the backlash of it.
I agree.
But I think if Texas Tech resoundingly wins, then Miami moves up. So then, yeah, Miami moves up to that 11. Then you have Notre Dame at 10, Miami at 11. Why? They already played. You're telling me the 10th ranked team would beat the 11th ranked team. They already played.
So
Therefore, either way, I think they're kind of setting it up like to give themselves a reason to get Notre Dame out.
I'm with you. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit for people that have not heard or have not put this together, have not thought about it. So right now you got Notre Dame at 10, BYU at 11, and Miami at 12. And one of the things the committee keeps saying is, well, you can't use head-to-head if the teams are far apart. And no one really knows exactly what far apart means. If there's even a team in between them, it looks like is what it's meaning. But they're saying that Miami and Notre Dame, that head-to-head isn't coming into play yet because they're not close enough. If BYU beats Texas Tech is ranked 4. Texas Tech is not falling out. They are safe at 4.
No,
so if BYU...
SMU was 8th last year when they lost to 17th
right.
ranked Clemson.
And they didn't drop out. Yeah, so the committee has shown
Texas Tech wouldn't fall.
The committee has shown they're not in the business of punishing a team for losing the conference championship game. And then you're thinking, okay, they have to drop like 8 spots. They're not dropping out. We can agree Texas Tech at 4 is not dropping out. So in that case, BYU gets the auto bid and Texas Tech also goes from the Big 12, and then you now have Notre Dame being pushed out of that. They're not playing this weekend. There's no more data points. The other option, say BYU just gets beat. Even if it's a close game, they probably drop a spot. I don't think they would. I think that they've shown that losses will drop you a bit.
At least one spot.
At least one spot.
You cannot stay the same
spot.
And
that's all that
even
matters.
If it's to a team.
And that's all that matters.
How many spots did USC drop to because they lost to Oregon?
Yeah. And then you do have Notre Dame 10, Miami 11, and now you can't use the argument of, oh, well, they're not close enough to include the head to head. So in
So
that case,
and
Miami goes in instead of Notre Dame because they have to use the
and
head to head tiebreaker there to jump Miami up. I
it
agree
really
with
feels
you.
like the committee set it up because yeah, Auburn or yeah, Bama went to Auburn and beat them, but that's not a win where you go, God damn, Bama just beat one of the best teams in the country. They deserve to move up, and they just moved them up a spot
Yeah,
and
yeah,
moved Notre Dame down. Like
100%.
they
And
just
like
did it,
you could almost
and
make the argument that Notre Dame had a better win this weekend than Alabama did. They
yes,
took
it's
care of business in Stanford. Stanford's not a good team, but
Stanford's terrible, but yeah,
Auburn record wise is terrible. They've had some close games against teams. Um, but yeah, that I mean, I'm with you 100%. I think that they are setting this up to take Notre Dame out. And if
and
so,
yeah, if
the
BYU
committee,
wins, Miami and them are both out, so they don't have to hear it from either fan
yeah.
base.
And if so, the committee has been playing a 5D game of chess that we were all too stupid to see. We've been
Well,
sitting here.
I I don't think the committee was expecting Miami to start just rattling. I think they were expecting they'll drop another game.
I agree. I do agree.
And then they started putting them in their fucking excuse my language. Uh, they started putting them in their ranking, high up in their rankings as the 11 seed, and everyone was like, they're not going to make their conference championship game. And then they end up 10-2, still don't make the conference championship game, and
They were
I don't
close
know.
though.
It's
We were close to
very
them
close.
making it. There's like
Yeah,
one more game that if it went their way, they would have made it.
if I'm pretty sure Duke would have lost.
Yeah, if Duke would have lost, they
That's all
would
they
have made
needed.
it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
SMU shit the bed and lost to Cal, didn't make it. Like they were close to getting in,
Or I
but
think it was SMU winning and Duke losing and Virginia losing or something like that. It was
something like
weird.
that. It was
They
yeah. There
needed
was
3 teams to lose.
yeah, but they were closer than I when we started looking at the rankings and we started having an issue with Miami ranked above Georgia Tech, closer than I thought they would be for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, that
I,
was
I
like
think
that was right at the beginning.
I think that the committee has been playing, or whether they locked into it. They've been playing a little bit of a 5D game of chess, and we were just too stupid to realize it. Because looking at it now, I don't see another way this goes. I genuinely don't see another way that this will play out.
Yeah. It's I mean, hey, chaos. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're a fan, yeah, if you're a fan of chaos, you almost are like rooting for BYU to beat Texas Tech this week, or just if you just in general for BYU to like get pummeled and move down.
Yeah.
Um, and then so we talked about Notre Dame. Then we have Alabama at 9, Oklahoma at 8, Texas A&M at 7, dropping pretty freaking significantly after losing to Texas, and then Ole Miss at 6. And kind of to your point about keeping Charlie Weiss Jr. around, I thought that the committee was going to move them down. I didn't think they should,
Well,
and I
I
love them.
I didn't think they were gonna move him down. My thing was I'm just surprised A&M fell as far as they did. I figured they'd just keep Ole Miss at 7 just because they don't know and put A&M at 6. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I guess I feel like when you're looking at it resume wise, 11-1 Ole Miss, 11-1 A&M. A&M lost to a 3-loss Texas. Ole Miss lost to a
One loss,
one loss
one loss
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, it makes sense resume
I
wise.
get
I
it.
just thought that they were going to move them down, similar to. Now we're talking 14 playoff here, but similar to Florida State when they lost Jordan Travis a few years ago and got knocked out.
Well, they're I think what did their quarterback got hurt. Jordan Travis got hurt a couple weeks before the end of the final rankings, though, right? Like the final rankings
It
come
was
out
it was
this
like
at the end of
yeah, it
this
was
week.
it was like the
So
last was like rivalry week, and then they got
they
dropped
played
out,
two.
and then they played
Then they played
yeah
their conference championship game, right?
yeah
Yeah. So they had a couple games where the commissioner said we haven't seen Ole Miss play. So I mean, if and they won't. So like they're gonna get into the playoffs, and I mean, if they get the 6th seed, they'll get matched up with a Group of 5 school. If Virginia uh, doesn't win, I mean, if
yeah.
Virginia does win, they'll play Virginia. Or yeah, they'll play Virginia. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I mean, I feel like either way, that's a very winnable game.
I agree. I actually really like how they did that. I mean, the players went 11-1. I don't think that they deserve to be knocked out significantly like a lot of people thought they would be because their coach is a dickhead and leaves in the middle of a title run. And then we have Oregon at 5, Texas Tech at 4, Georgia at 3, Indiana at 2, and Ohio State at 1. Nothing really to say about any of that. So
No, seems like Oregon's kind of penciled in to be that 5 seed as long
I
as
do have
Tech
one thing to
wins.
say. I have one thing to say about that. Um, there's a chance that 3 of the top 4 teams with a first round bye are all from the Big Ten. Like if Georgia loses, you'll have or Texas Tech loses, Oregon will jump them, and Indiana I
Yeah,
don't see
I
really
think
falling out by losing to the 1 seed. There's a
yeah.
legit chance that you have 3 of the top 4 teams that get that first
If
round
Georgia
bye.
loses, they'll probably drop to 5 because they'll have head to head over Ole Miss.
Yeah,
So it'll probably end up, yeah.
yeah. There's a legit chance that that happens. Just throwing that out there. I think it's funny.
All depends on how little Ohio State or Indiana lose to each other, whoever loses. But like if Indiana gets their ass whooped, they might drop to 5. But
That's
if
true.
Georgia also loses, it might help them. But
That is very true. Yeah. No, there. I mean,
it's Saturday's gonna be crazy.
Saturday will be super crazy. And then this week, just a little cleanup from this week, some games to talk about. Rivalry week. Texas beats Texas A&M 27-17. Obviously hands Texas A&M their first loss. This was the first time or the second time, sorry, that these teams have played each other in a very long time because the Aggies moved over to the SEC, and then their ADs just hated each other and like refused to talk to each other on the phone to schedule a game. That's how much these schools hate each other.
Respect.
Wow, 100% respect. Last year, Texas A&M, they played at Kyle Field, just Texas A&M, and Texas A&M needed a win to get to the conference championship game, and Texas beat them handedly. This year, Texas A&M needs a win to get to the conference champion. They meet up in Austin, chance to redeem themselves, and then Marcel Reed sucked big time this week.
Yeah.
27
I
to
mean,
17 was the final.
what did I tell you? I mean, how many weeks ago did I call it?
You've been saying it. You've been saying it. I will give you your flowers. You have been calling
It's
that. I've been saying that Texas
they
A&M is a very good
they
football team, and that
they can't go
Marcel
12 and
Reed
0.
they
They
can't go
won't go
12 and 0.
12 and 0.
They
They
can't.
can't.
They refuse to do it.
It's
They
like
just
they're
refuse to.
allergic to it.
Yeah, and like
Uh, they're
if
still a
you're,
great football team, but
I, I
you know,
I think we saw some cracks for sure. Like I thought this team could be a
Texas's
national.
defense is so good. It's
It
so good.
it is.
Texas's offense is the reason they're not going to make the playoff.
And if A&M if A&M just lost my train of thought. If A&M again voids Ohio State, I think they could win a national championship. Kind of go back to like that draw. They're not beating Ohio State though.
No.
I don't know if you saw it, but after the Texas beat Texas A&M, Sark went on in his little post
His
game
little rant.
interview and kind of was a little bitch, whining to the whining to the committee members watching that this Texas team deserves to be in the playoffs, and if not, it's because we lost to Ohio State, and you can't punish us for losing to Ohio State. And now every Texas fan across the internet is saying that if Texas doesn't get in, it's because they lost to Ohio State, and these marquee matchups will no longer be a thing anymore. And here's my thing: don't lose to a 4-8 Florida team. All right, Texas is the highest ranked 3-loss team. They're actually getting rewarded for losing to Ohio State. They're not being punished for it.
Yeah.
If they would have beaten up on, I don't know, Richmond, they would have beaten up on, I don't even know if Richmond has a football team. If they would have beat up on some group of 5 team or worse FCS team, I still don't think they're in the playoffs after a bad loss to a 4-8 Florida. And a
Yeah. I mean,
dismantling by Georgia. They got beat by 25 points by Georgia.
yeah. I mean, I feel like they would be. I think they'd be ahead of Notre Dame and Miami and BYU if
I don't know about BYU. I don't think you can put a
maybe not
2-loss
BYU. Maybe
Texas
yeah.
team with a
Maybe not
4-8 to
BYU.
Florida, lost to four
But
and eight
it would
Florida.
the rankings would look pretty different.
They
But
would look
I
different.
think they would be. I think they'd be in the playoff. like on the bubble, but not
I think they're
guaranteed.
on the bubble. I think they're on the outside looking in. I don't think they're on the inside try to hang on. I think they're on the outside looking in. Also, Ohio State, finally, after years, the last time
Finally,
they beat Michigan was in 2019, and now they can say in 2025 they beat Michigan. Finally, it's over 1,000 days of not being able to beat your rival. Finally, get it done, and in what was possibly the one of the worst quarterback performances by Bryce Underwood I've ever seen in my entire life. Um,
yeah.
he
I
threw for like
mean, Ohio
63
State's
yards.
defense. Yeah, but you got to think about it. Like Ohio State's defense, literally has given up 93 points all season in
Ohio
12
State's
games.
defense is very good. Don't get me wrong, but he was going from like first read, I'm gonna tuck and run. No, I'm not. I'm gonna look at my second read. Okay, now I'm gonna tuck and run again. No, I'm
He
not.
was
Like
panicking.
he was panicked back there, and you could see like every play, and it wasn't like it's because he was
Hmm.
dodging guys left and right and was panicking after avoiding three tackles. No, he was just panicking. He was just panicked back there.
I agree. Yeah, he
Eh,
didn't look good, but
Not
that
even
Ohio
a
State
little bit.
defense doesn't make things any easier.
1,000%. It is a very, very good defense. Completely dismantled them, and also Underwood panicked and sucked. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
He's young. He could improve. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not seeing the quarterback of the future right now. To be honest,
he's had some rough spots. He looks more like a runner. And I mean, obviously he's a true freshman, so he's probably be a little more refined as a runner as when he's a little younger. But uh, Ohio State kind of just bullied him all game. Like they straight
very
up
true.
bullied him.
Very, very
And
true.
credit to Ryan Day, got the monkey off his back and just a convincing victory.
Convinced. Yeah, the score was like, it was a decent win. The score, but like you watch that game, not a close game. Not a close game at all.
I mean, Michigan didn't score a touchdown,
That is, they did not. That is true. That is
so
true.
like,
They did. I don't know if you saw that play in the end zone with the fumble, not fumble, out of bounds. I can't believe there was a rules analyst that came out and said that I think it was Terry McClory. McClory came out and said that should have been a fumble, touchback, not a touchdown for Ohio State. But at the end of the day, that score did not make a difference.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, Michigan probably goes 3 and out there, and then
20-9.
yeah, like
Yeah,
not the end of the world there. And then the Iron Bowl, another good one. Auburn played really well. They had a good comeback working. Alabama scores with about 2 minutes left to take the lead. Auburn is driving down the field quite easily. Like, not easy, but they're driving down the field. And then they fumble, and Alabama recovers it. And that is a brutal way to end. I think
brutal.
the text I sent you said Jordan Hare magic works against Auburn again. We talk about the Jordan Hare voodoo magic, and it is not on Auburn's side right now. It is not on Auburn's side. It's like it got that year they got the prayer at Jordan Hare and then the kick six. The Jordan Hare magic is working against them now. They used all their goodwill on those two plays.
100%. Uh, but I mean, it all in all, I think this was almost a great win for Bama
I
because going on the road, your biggest rival, and having to come like having that taking the lead with 2 minutes left, and then forcing a turnover on defense. I mean, and you could see the committee thought that by moving them up a spot, uh, even if Auburn didn't have that good of a record, I feel like the SEC bias kind of takes into it. Uh, they they beat a SEC school on the road, and it was their biggest rival. So I mean,
I,
I think
I
it's
think
borderline a great
I think
win.
it's one of those ugly. We talked about it at USC Nebraska. One of those ugly wins. Things aren't going right, but you find a way to win the game. I think it was actually a
Hmm.
good team building. If you want to use that word, win a needed win for Alabama to hey we can come together and still win a game when things aren't going well. And I have another thing to talk about, Nick. I have another thing to talk about here. So I'm just going to say two facts that have happened. So we're gonna take two conferences. So the 13th team in the standings in Conference A, be a conference championship team that's in Conference B, 31-17, Also in those same Conference A, Conference B, the fifth team in Conference A lost to the other conference championship team from Conference B, 16-9. Which of those conferences do you think is the better conferences?
I mean, I know where you're going with this,
So those
but
are those are the ACC and the SEC. Conference A is the ACC. The 13th team beat the conference championship game. Florida State dismantled Alabama earlier in the season, 31-7, and then the fifth team in Conference B lost to the other conference championship. That's Georgia Tech, beating or barely losing 16-9 by a touchdown to Georgia. Look, I'm not saying that the ACC is just as good as the SEC. But what I feel confident saying is that we're not looking at a jump of like single A or rookie A or summer ball baseball to the MLB, which is what a lot of people say it is. They say like they're in two different leagues. The SEC, the worst place SEC team would dominate the ACC year in and year out, or the first place ACC team would, the Miami would absolutely just not win a game in the SEC, and the SEC is so much better. I don't think the SEC is that much better than other conferences. I think they might be a little bit better than the ACC and the Big 12. I don't think they're better than the Big 10. The Big 10 went 5-1 against the SEC in bowl games last year. USC went 2-0 last year in a very bad. They went 6-6 all year. 2-0 against the SEC, or 7-6 with the bowl game.
yeah,
I don't think the SEC is that much better than the ACC or the Big 12, and I definitely don't think they're better than the Big 10.
the SEC gets carried by the big guys up top. I mean,
But the big guy up top lost to the poor little 13th team 31-17. And then the other big guy up top only beat the fifth team 16-9.
yeah, I mean, context though. I mean, Georgia Tech's a rivalry. That game's been close the last few years, but Florida State for some reason, like I don't know why they can't win in the ACC. Like they play all these competitive ass games outside the conference. They look good, and then they can't beat Boston College. They can't beat SMU. They can't beat Cal. Like, what is going on? It makes no. They don't make any sense right now.
That is true.
It's
That is
it's probably
true.
because they're filled with a bunch of 4 and 5 stars still. So whenever they play a big school, they all step up, and then they play down to their opponents in the ACC.
They are
And I mean,
definitely
it's weird.
they are definitely a play down to your opponent team, but that does not change the fact that when we have teams play and we get the hypothetical bullshit out of here, again, the SEC undefeated in hypotheticals, we all know the joke. That the conferences actually play very tough against each other. Just they do play tough against each other. They're not getting blown out. Like if you took
Yeah.
the worst, like Kentucky, and they played against.
Also, if I'm pretty sure like the Big Six in the SEC are like 140 against ACC schools, but the other 10 SEC schools, or the whatever it is, I'm not really counting Oklahoma and Texas in this.
Yeah.
The other SEC schools are under 500 against ACC schools.
Yeah, well, when we're talking, the
So,
history of it all here.
I mean, I'm
Maybe
just
back
trying to
in the
say,
day.
like, the top part of the SEC is definitely better than the ACC as a whole, but that bottom half to bottom like 2/3 of the SEC is not as good as everyone thinks.
I'm with you. I really,
Like
I'm with you for the whole thing. I'm going to
everyone,
take it a step further.
like I think Auburn's a pretty good team, but like if they were to be put in the ACC, they're not going 12-0.
No,
Like
no.
they're going 8-4, and they're
Yeah,
still not making a playoff.
yeah,
Like
I agree.
they'll maybe win 2 or 3 more games.
I agree. I don't see this professional versus amateur league that everybody talks about between these
Well,
two.
the NIL too has also allowed a little more even playing field with the
That is very
ACC and the
true.
Big 12
That is very
because
true.
they're getting a little more money because they're a Power 4 conference.
And the
But
ACC
I
is
and I
doing
also
things
think,
that the SEC's been doing forever.
and it's the money is also allowing the Big 10 schools who notoriously have had a lot of money. They are just now really, really, really spending it on football, uh, they've surpassed the SEC
I
almost
agree. I
as a
think you
whole.
even take like an Iowa team and put them in the SEC, and they're going to go 8-4. Iowa was Iowa
I
was
don't know if they
Iowa
could
was
score enough points.
Iowa was decent this year. They weren't bad. They weren't horrible. They weren't the Iowa of old that
Yeah.
scores 3 points and beats a team 3-2.
Yeah, I
They
mean, Iowa would probably finish seventh in the SEC.
I think they win 4 games in the SEC. I think they're a
Yeah,
little
four,
worse than
four and
Texas.
four, 4-4, seventh.
Nah, I'm not saying they're going 4 conference losses. I'll give you 3 conference losses in this
So five
scenario.
and three.
Iowa scheduled a tough out of conference opponent, and now they're crying about it. Let's see. What else
No,
do
but yeah,
we?
as a whole, I mean, I do think the Big 12 and the ACC are growing, but they're not there yet.
Well, we kind of talked about this earlier. There's something else I want to bring up. All of the big head coach hirings happened. So I'm just gonna name the. That is not. I wrote that down wrong. Gonna name some couple big ones. Florida, John Summerall from Tulane, great hire there. Tulane has
Yeah,
been very good under him. I think that is. I think you can make well. I think Kiffin to LSU is the best hire. Now, if I'm LSU though, I am questioning his loyalty.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say, are you? Sorry, it's on my camera. Uh, are you about to say you think Summerall's the best hire of the group so far? Because I
I
think so.
I think
I
so
think he
because
is over Kiffin. Yeah,
I think on the field you got to go Kiffin. But my issue with Kiffin is like, can LSU trust him? Nobody thought 3 months ago he'd be leaving Ole Miss. Like he was Mr. Ole Miss. He loved Ole Miss. He made a whole ass documentary about how much he loves being a rebel. And then he just leaves because his daughter possibly, hypothetically, allegedly even, because his daughter is smitten on West Wet Weeks. Um, I think you got to question the loyalty there, though. On the field, I think
yeah.
Kiffin is the clear cut favorite or clear cut best. But Florida getting John Summerall from Tulane is a freaking heck of a hire. He is a
And
good coach. He's a good ass coach.
I agree. And I don't know if Retzloff has any. Well, I mean, I don't know what Lagway is going to do, but I think Lagway needs to leave, low key,
I think
get a
yeah,
change of scenery. Uh,
yeah,
but I don't know. I think Summerall's got to hit the portal pretty hard. I mean,
1,000%.
it should
I
be.
don't
They should have a
I
good recruiting class. I haven't checked, but
I don't think that this is going to be a year one rebound for Florida. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a
me
rebuild for
either.
Florida. Um, Another great
And in
hire
the
though.
SEC also.
They are in the SEC. They are in the head and shoulders best conference to ever step foot on the football field. Um, Another really good hire though. I think these three are all like fairly good hires. But I think what might be an underrated hire is Colorado State with Jim Mora.
Yes.
I think so. Jim
They
Mora's first 4 years at UCLA were all good, and then he had like two 500 years at UCLA. Took a break from coaching for a while, and then ended up at UConn where he was having them go like 10-2 every freaking year. And again, UConn, like it's UConn that's not even in a conference, and they still play tough teams. Like it's UConn. No one's expecting UConn to win 4 games, let alone go ten and
once they
two.
left the Big East, they were terrible.
Yeah, they were absolutely terrible. And then Colorado State gets him. I think Jim Mora could be the best group of five to like coach. He's one of those
Well,
guys that he
hmm
can make Colorado State like a perennial college football playoff contender.
well, did you hear how much money like they will have just about as much money as the top group of five schools will. Like they
Okay.
will be spending money on their roster.
It reminds me of like a
Like I don't know how
Peterson.
much that is, if for a group of five, but are they getting
500K and a
3 million for the
freaking
roster?
500K and a $3 hot dog from Mechanics Bank Arena. Sorry, Dignity
They're
Health
trying
Arena now.
they're trying to freaking get their quarterback for, hey, come here and play for 75K.
Yeah. But I think he could be. It reminds me of like a Peterson at Boise State, but the opposite in that like he's tried his hand at FBS, didn't really, or at Power Four, didn't work out the best. but he has a chance to make a powerhouse Group of 5 team.
Hmm.
Making it to the playoffs every year, always being, like Boise State was, that bowl busting team. Another really good hire from for Auburn to get Golish from uh, I'm blanking on this.
USF.
USF. I typed out FSU by accident, but yeah, no, Golish, great hire. Has a big win. I do think the jury's still out on him though. He does have a great win,
Yeah, he's
but this was only his third year, and he dropped a couple games he definitely should not have.
definitely the bigger question mark out of the three that we've talked about so far. I feel
Yes,
like, but
1000%.
he made Byron Brown look really good,
He
and
did.
his teams have played up to competition sometimes.
Very
Not
true.
every time, but sometimes.
Um, I just he has that big win over Florida, but Florida was quite
Hmm.
ass. And then besides that, like again, dropped a couple games. He's only in his fourth year. I think it's a question mark. I think it is for sure a question mark, and I could see that not working out for Auburn, and then being in the same situation in 3 years. And then another one, Nick, and I'm going to give you the floor to talk about this because I know how much you like this hire. And not only do you like this hire, you like who this guy might bring at quarterback. I'm going to be honest. The only reason I know this quarterback's name is because of how much you like him. And that is
Heck yeah.
Eric Morris from North Texas going to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, he's a very good quarterback developer. I can't remember off the top of my head. I probably should have written it down, but he's developed like three or four guys, and they've all been pretty damn good quarterbacks. I think Mestmaker will follow him to Oklahoma State. I also think their true freshman running back Hawkins will follow him. He's a 1,000-yard rusher this year. Uh, Damn good. I think they're both going to get a bag, and I think that's a home run hire for Oklahoma State, who, I mean, a couple of years ago they were damn good competing for Big 12 championships.
Yeah, I think my first thought when that whole Texas and Oklahoma loss, like literally was like Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. That's why would they do that when they're dog walking the Big 12 every year, and then immediately followed by Oklahoma State is going to be the next powerhouse in the Big 12, and they've sucked since then. They have not done it. They have not done what we thought they would do, and this is their opportunity to do that. Trying to find the here it is. So you sent me on Twitter the report that Eric Morris was going to Oklahoma State, and you put 4 words and an emoji, and those 4 words were Mestamaker's gonna follow him with the eyes emoji. That's exactly what you put. I know how excited this how much this means to you, Nick.
I mean, we'll get to it later in picks, but I mean, he's the best Group of 5 quarterback. Like, he has had one crappy game, and other than that, he's been elite. And
Yeah, he
I
has.
mean,
He also threw like 6 picks against.
I don't even think he has 6 picks total on the year.
No,
I
he
think he
has I
threw
think
three picks,
four,
four.
and they were the 4 picks
He
he
threw,
threw in that game.
yeah, he threw like three in one game or something like that. And
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you're wrong on liking Drew Mestamaker. I just think it's funny because you're like, dude, Drew Mestamaker, Drew Mestamaker. Like, just the love you have for Drew Mestamaker is the love I hope to find one day.
he's got 29 touchdowns and 4 picks.
And they were
And
all in that game, dude. That is a
he threw 3 picks in the loss to USF, and then he threw one against Charlotte.
oh
Is that Charlotte? Yeah, it is Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah,
But he also threw for 600 yards against Charlotte.
I'm gonna say something about Charlotte right now. Do you think for how many against Charlotte? 600.
608 yards.
You know what?
On 37 completions.
I will gladly exchange 680 yards of passing offense for an interception.
608.
608. All you know what? Doesn't change the equation for me.
I know.
I will gladly exchange 597 yards in the air for one interception a game. I'm gonna say something about the Charlotte logo real quick. I recently realized that is a pickaxe in the sea and not a pelican, and I was always really confused. They're the 49ers.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're the 49ers.
I was always really confused why they had a pelican in their logo. And then I saw it one day while hearing the word 49er. I went,
Oh,
that's a pickaxe. That's what that is. Yeah, it was. It
yeah.
took me a long time. Not one of my proudest moments, and now I'm sharing it for the internet. This is gonna come back to haunt me one day. Um, we already talked about this. Or no, we did not already talk about this. Sorry, we already talked about the next thing I had written down.
Mhm.
So if you're looking though at these head coach hirings, you may be wondering there's a school that hasn't hired a head coach that fired their head coach fairly early. And I got three things to say. Penn State is fucked. Okay, Penn State is fucked bad. Right? They fired Franklin for going 10-2 or 11-1. They were like 10-2, 11-1, 11-1, 10-2, but we lost to
Nine and
Ohio
three,
State.
10-2.
Nine and
Yeah.
three, and then he has a bad year this year, right? He had a bad year, lost to UCLA. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for sure. You lost to Oregon, not as embarrassing, but not great. Goes to overtime. They actually played fairly well. Um, and so they had all this time. Meanwhile, James Franklin, when he went on game day, he was the guest picker and had told his story to the world. Um, he went to got hired by Virginia Tech. He's been recruiting for Virginia Tech. Um, Penn State hasn't hired anybody yet, and all the good options are gone. They are gone. They have gotten hired by people, and then like you thought maybe they were going to take the coach from BYU, and then Mr. Crumble Cookie stepped in and paid the man. Also wild that Crumble Cookie is paying for a head
Well,
college football coach.
also, the owner of the Jazz and the owner of the Utah Mammoth, Ryan Smith, the freaking 35-year-old billionaire from Qualtrics or whatever,
Think of what
got
Mark
a big
Cuban
part in it
was.
too. Yeah, it's Ryan Smith, basically, just a young business mogul,
I'm gonna be honest, Nick.
loves sports.
If
He
if
oh yeah.
if I was a billionaire, I would be like, not only would I own all of my well, probably not
I'd
all of them.
somehow be the sole owner of the Packers. Trust me.
You would buy all of the stock, all
Give
of
me
the
all your
stock that's
big
available.
fucking
Yeah,
stock.
I would definitely buy the Angels. I'd dump a ton of money into it. I would be USC's biggest owner. Um, I mean, I would buy the Raiders at that point just because I have the money. You know what though, the Lakers, I like what they're doing. You know, as much as I dislike the Dodgers, I'll let them keep the Lakers.
Give me a piece.
I
Yeah,
like
just give
I
me a
like what the
piece. Give
Ducks are
me
doing.
3%.
Give me three. Yeah, I'll be a minority owner. Easy money. And I better get into games for I'm gonna have the owner's box. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Penn State super fucked. I don't know who they hire.
Yeah.
I don't know. They may not have a coach next year. Like that's how fucked they are.
So, well, so they're gonna promote Terry Smith at this point.
They will.
People are asking, but the thing is that they should have just done that earlier and tried to save their class. Like they've lost like over 10 guys that have flipped from Penn State to Virginia Tech. A bunch of other guys have decommitted. Uh, that they just screwed up. They didn't have a replacement plan. Like they just were like, oh, we're gonna fire someone. We're Penn State. Someone's gonna want to come here, and it's like, no, it's NIL era. Everyone has money now, especially in the Power Four. You're not gonna steal Sataki from BYU. You're not gonna steal Kiffin from, or not, sorry, not Kiffin. You're not gonna steal Lincoln Riley from USC. Like
Yeah,
you're not gonna
that's supposed
steal Dan Lanning from
they
Oregon.
were
Like
supposedly going after Lanning and Kiff or Lincoln, and both of them pretty much
like
idea go kick rocks. Like didn't even
yeah, like
entertain the
why?
idea.
Like and they did this. We're like, oh, we're gonna get it's for Penn State, you know, like we're starting to spend more money than any other school in the Big Ten on our sports. Blah blah blah. We have like the richest alumni base in Power Four. Blah blah blah. All this kind of stuff. It's like that doesn't matter. It does to some, but like if if you're gonna fire me for going 10-2 here at Penn State, where I'm a, a god at BYU for going 10-2, or at USC if he gets us back to 11-1 and in a playoff, he's gonna be a Lincoln Riley be a god.
One thousand
Like Dan
percent.
Lanning's already kind of considered a freaking god at Oregon, especially if he wins one. And so it's like why would they leave that to go somewhere where you're going to get criticized for going 10-2,
It's the same thing actually with
9-3?
Kiffin.
Like,
It's the same thing with Kiffin, honestly. Like, and another reason I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about it. It doesn't. Another reason it just doesn't make sense for Kiffin to leave is that he's a god for going. Um, he's a
mhm.
god for going. You know, 11-1 at Ole Miss, and even if they go 9-3 on in a lot of years, like he'll be a god, and he's gonna get fired for going 9-3 at LSU.
Yeah.
So with Penn State, you bring up a good point. Today was early National Signing Day, which is when we're recording this. Um, Penn State had two guys signed. Two.
Dude, they were 150th.
They're
150th ranked.
150th.
They were lower than Montana State,
I'm
lower than
gonna.
South Dakota State.
Oh, it's
Like,
yeah. I'm gonna tell you the two teams above them. Is South Dakota State and McNeese.
yeah. Wasn't
Um,
Prairie View A&M the team just below them?
Prairie View A&M is a team just below them. At 152, you have Howard, and then at 153, you have ASU, not Arizona State University, Alabama State University. Um, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. I don't see a
Mhm.
way um, that Penn State, like, even if they hire a coach, they're gonna be terrible next year. Even if they promote Terry Smith, they're gonna be
No,
terrible
Terry.
next year. They have two 4 stars. They have an edge rusher from Pennsylvania and a
Mm.
quarterback from Pennsylvania. I don't even know who's recruiting them right now because they don't have a head coach, and they're
Yeah.
unless Terry
Well,
Smith
and
thinks he's gonna get the
Franklin stole
job.
like the whole staff too.
Yeah. This is very bad. I don't see a way out of this for Penn State. They need to just promote Terry Smith, give him like 3 years. Don't give him the James Franklin 12 years if you're gonna fire him. Give him two. Give him three. Um,
Yeah.
and if they could go back in time, literally just go back in time, start talking to Golish, start talking to Summerall, start talking to one of these guys, and just be like, dude, we will literally pay you any amount
Yeah.
of money. Now
Hmm.
they could hire Brian Kelly. I'm throwing that
They
out there.
could.
They shouldn't.
He would fit better up there though
He
than he
would
would
fit
down
better up
south.
at. He would fit significantly better at Penn State. Also, though, this guy's like a complete piece of shit, and I don't think he should ever get a job again. All right, this is this we've had a long episode, so let's just get into picks for the conference championship games here, because we could talk about everything we talked about for an hour in just those things. So, um, in the CUSA, we got Kennesaw State at Jacksonville State. Now, this is not a neutral site game. This is just a straight up hosting. Jacksonville State is hosting.
Haven't really paid too much attention to these teams, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Kennesaw State has played pretty well this year. After coming into FBS, I think last year, maybe the year before. I'm going to pick them.
I'm going K State, Kennesaw State, not Kansas State. Kennesaw State. The Owls, go Owls. I like their colors, their uniforms. That's what I'm going based off of vibes today for this one because I don't know anything about this team. Taking Kennesaw State. And then over in the Mountain West, we got UNLV going into Boise State, another non-neutral site game.
Uh, so Boise State beat UNLV earlier this year by like 25, but I don't think Boise State's quarterback is there anymore. So I'm going to go UNLV to win.
I'm gonna go Boise State home game on the Smurf turf. 25 points is not just a quarterback to me. There's a deeper issue there. Don't get me wrong, UNLV's played fairly well, but that's big. That's big beat down. And I don't think they find 25 points. They learned 25 points worth of information in that game. So I'm gonna take Boise State. Then we got some action, and I'm shocked this game wasn't like tonight on a Wednesday. That would be an
Mm-hmm.
insanely action thing to do. But we got Miami of Ohio going into Western Michigan. Again, another non-neutral site game.
I think this is neutral site. It's at Ford Field.
Is this one at Ford Field? It might be at Ford Field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think I remember looking it up because I was like, oh, Western Michigan isn't at home, huh?
Oh, all right. I may have
I
just
think
saw
it's
the
Ford
word
Field.
Michigan and thought it was and didn't see Ford Field.
But I am going Western Michigan anyways. Going with the Michigan team.
Yeah, I'm going Western Michigan. Go Broncos again. More going based off of vibes for this one.
I mean, the MAC's so weird. I
The MAC
believe
is
it's an eight
also
and four
weird.
team versus 7-5 team. Like,
Yeah, that's Maction, baby. That is Maction. I love Maction. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Western Michigan. Um, Now I get to a little bit more important games. Sun Belt. We got Troy going into JMU.
JMU, I think it'd actually be pretty close.
Was that your
I
pick in
think JMU is
JMU?
gonna, yeah, I think they're gonna feel the pressure a little bit. And I mean, I think it'd be close, but I think they win.
I'm going with the Dukes, taking JMU here. They've looked really good. I think that they will feel the pressure and actually respond very well to it. For a chance to get into the college football playoffs, I think JMU wins this game. And then we get that chaos scenario. And then here we get into some like actually really good games. In the American, we talked about earlier, North Texas and Tulane.
Yeah, you know where I'm going. I'm taking
I
Tulane, right? Yeah,
do.
yeah, right. Give me North Texas.
North
Come on
Texas,
now.
give him North Texas, give him Drew Mastamaker to slice this Tulane defense up. I'm going Tulane. I like John Summerall. I think Summerall's a great coach. I think Mastamaker is good, but North Texas, they played USF and Mastamaker folded under pressure, threw 3 picks, didn't look great. Now he could have learned from
Hey,
that,
Tulane
but
lost to freaking UTSA by 22 points.
that is true. That is true. They did, but I like John Summerall here to win this game. Actually, interesting that Eric Morris versus a John Summerall team, winner to the playoffs. This is actually going to be probably the best
Electric.
American, yeah, probably the best American Conference Championship game we've ever seen. And then we have BYU in the Big 12, 11-1 going into Texas Tech, also 11-1. But Texas Tech's only loss came with their backup quarterback, and this is a neutral site game.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I root for chaos, and I would love for chaos, I think Texas Tech handles them again. I just don't think BYU's offense is good enough to hang with them yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Texas Tech wins this game. Texas Tech's defense has looked really good. J-Rod has looked good. And then you throw in their offense has also looked really good. They beat them the first time for a reason. I'm rolling. I'm gonna say it. Wreck 'em. Wreck 'em. I think Texas Tech wins this game. Over in the SEC, a little bit of a rematch here. It was what has possibly been one of the best games of this year so far with Georgia and Alabama. We get a rematch of Georgia and Alabama. Neutral site game here. Both teams probably safe. Now, Bama theoretically could drop out. They're at 9 right now, so a win helps them more.
If they
But
get their butts whooped, there's a slight chance that they
yeah.
should be worried, but I think they're in.
And who are you taking in
I
this game?
mean, I've been going back and forth, dude. Like, I'm like, oh, Georgia can finally get the monkey off their back, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, man, every time Bama plays Georgia, they just light up the scoreboard. And, like, they're just scoring points, and it's crazy games, and Bama seems to just have a little bit more firepower. And so, for that reason, I'm sticking with Bama. I'm taking them.
Earlier in the year when they played, I picked Georgia. I said Georgia's a better team. I didn't think Ty Simpson was great. I said this was the year that Kirby Smart got that monkey off his back. He finally will be able to beat this Bama team. And then Kalen DeBoer, Ty Simpson, these guys proved me wrong. Now I stand by what I said. I think on paper this Georgia team is a little bit better than this Bama team. In the words of Pat McAfee, who's that coming down the train? Or who's that coming down the
Who's that
tracks?
coming down the track?
Yeah, it's the mean machine in the red and black. Not today, though. I'm going Bama here. I'm taking Bama. Roll Tide. I think that Bama. I just Georgia can't beat Bama. That's really all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia cannot beat Bama. And then we have the Big Ten. We got the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers. Cinderella story a little bit. Signetti looking like a mastermind coach, getting that turnaround going quickly. Going and taking on Ohio State. Ryan Day. 2 undefeated teams. We will have 1 undefeated team at the end of this of the conference championship game weekend because these 2 teams are playing.
Man. I think it's going to be electric. Games at it's in the Colt Stadium. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. Uh,
Isn't it in Lucas Oil?
that's where it is, Lucas Oil. Yeah, I knew it was where the Colts played. I just didn't know what the name of it was.
I heard it's a cold stadium, and I was like,
But
it's a dome.
it's going to be electric. Indiana's not very far from there. There's going to be a lot of Indiana fans. Ohio State fans aren't very far either. I think Columbus is an hour and a half from
Yeah.
Indy, so it's going to be electric. Ohio State's going to win by probably 17 points.
I, okay, look. Not only, I also am going to add this. Not only is this a 1 versus 2, an undefeated versus an undefeated, it's going to be a Heisman versus a Heisman candidate. The top two in the Heisman are playing against each other. I think it'll come down to that. You have Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza. Julian Sayin is throwing over like an 80% completion percentage, like a 79.4% completion percentage. Something insane. Fernando Mendoza, ton of touchdowns, not a lot of yards, 73% completion percentage, like third in the country. But the Ohio State defense, way too good. I don't think Mendoza's going to have a good game. Mendoza is a game manager, in my opinion. So,
Okay.
OH.
I
There you go. There you go. I'm taking Ohio State here. Ohio State wins this game, and I agree with you. They are going to win easily. It's going to be one of those games very similar to Ohio State had in the conference championship game last year, where you're like, or in the Rose Bowl last year, where you're like, this game is over in the going into the second half. And then the last game, 1-4. This is a straight up. The winner, one team has a chance to knock another team off, and one team has a chance to make it to the playoffs. We got Duke and Virginia.
So, like I said, as much as I like chaos and all that stuff, and I think honestly, Duke Mensa is such a good quarterback. He could light up the scoreboard, but in the end, I don't think Duke's defense is good enough. So I think Virginia wins.
I think Virginia wins. I'm not going to play this one up. Virginia's just a much better team than Duke. Duke lucked their way into the conference championship game because other teams have not been consistent enough. I think
Hey, they won games.
they won like 6 games, 7 games.
Yeah, 6-2. They didn't win their out of conference games.
Yeah, I still think Virginia's just the better team. I think Virginia's going to win it. But Nick, that's everything I got for you going into conference championship game week, coming off of rivalry week. Is there anything else you got?
Not at all. I don't think. I'm excited to watch these games this weekend.
I'm very excited to watch these games this weekend. So yeah, then if you're not following on TikTok, on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow. What are we doing? Make sure to follow. You get to it's just more content for you to consume. And if you're consuming this, you probably want to consume that too. So follow all that. Share with a friend. Tell a friend about the podcast. Tell a friend about the podcast. If you want to be on the podcast, you want to be a guest on the podcast, shoot me an email. TrojanBias@gmail.com. Shoot that out. Okay, I'm always willing to accept guests. With that, then, that is all we got for this week. Fight on, and we will see you guys next week.